I'm Tony Craddock. I'm the Director General of the Emerging Payments Association, and I'm joined by Joshua Bower-Saul, who's the CEO of Cybertonica. The ability to have access to that data, understand it, manipulate it, use it, and kind of use it to trace, what can your data access skills contribute to the conversation around tracing and privacy?
We built our platform on a GDPR basis. So what you don't want is to have a single source that can track everything a single person who's identifiable is doing in their lives with their money, with their movements to do. And what we have been doing is working on making this part of making the system secure. So if it's agreed by the customer and it's for a security purpose, there are a certain amount of monitoring and so on that is allowed, just the way we're going to allow people to monitor and trace people who have the virus for protecting the rest of the community. And we kind of see it the same way. So we're kind of tracing the virus carriers in the payment, banking, and cyber world. And we do this on a number of levels. And we use the right application of the regulations to get access to the needed data. And then we synchronize that data to get a mosaic picture of that person's behavior.
I just wonder, what are the main trends regarding cyber risk, for example? How is cyber risk changing? And how do you think it affects the risk of payments?
At the base of it, the problem we're facing is tens of billions and potentially hundreds of billions a year in lost revenues, lost money, and claims, right? So it's a very big problem, and it's a growing problem. It's growing 20 to 30% a year. Fraudsters are not ignorant of the technology that's being used in today's standard incumbent rules-based systems. So automation is the first thing. You've got to automate. The second thing is intelligence, right? So once you automate, that gives you the possibility of using machine learning to really make very distinct determinations about how things are interrelated and what is modeled. So what we do is we have the platform's called Anomalytics. We model millions and millions of behavior sets, and then we only have to monitor, if you will, the real deviations from the norm. So I think that's the second step you're going to see is intelligence is becoming more and more of a feature. And then third is drawing customer insight out of all of this. There's been a whole move among fraudsters where they can't get in because the systems are getting better. They start other tactics. Of course, you have the phishing and the friendly fraud and the social engineering to get people to make operations that you don't want them to make. Those are probably 50 to 60% of most cyber attacks or banking-related cyber attacks are through getting a password. So passwords are also something that's going to go away.
I'll ask you sort of final comments, really kind of top three tips.
Top tip is don't rely on the rules of yesterday to solve the situations of tomorrow. This is both because it's a bad business decision, because when you have better adjusted risk, you actually make more conversion, less basket drop, and more profit, but also because it excludes having those old rules excludes a lot of customers. So that's my top tip. My second tip is review your policies consistently, because in systems like ours and others, we have policy review where you can do it in real time. But if you're not doing that, you have a provider who requires change requests and so on. You still need to review your policies consistently, because fraudsters study policies. Fraudsters talk to people who work and devise policies. They know how they work. So revise your policies and change them. And lastly, it seems obvious, but get something onto the client side. So if you see 30, 40, 50% mobile purchases and you're not managing that device identity in some way, you're going to be at risk of penetration first of your client's account and then potentially of your own system. So that would be my top three tips.